Hey, it's working again. Maybe. Probably not. Hotel Wi-Fi is terrible. Some of these hotels I can hardwire in, but some I can't. So wait for the YouTubers to get the notifications back out and people to kind of pop back in. So see how this goes again. Howdy. Testing, testing. Check, check. 1, 2. The Wi-Fi sucks, but the waifu is bae. Heck yeah. Hey, so what? Oh, sweet. So we're back now. Yeah, it's hotel Wi-Fi, so very suspect. What ball would you get if your arsenal was hustle, PBR, rap, and fever pitch? Something stronger. Um, IQ Tornado Pearl. I'm back. Sweet. Hopefully everybody re-asks their questions. I remember somebody asking something about why is the Emerald so much straighter than other R2S Pearl balls, and I really don't think it is. All 3 or 4 of mine hooked at 30 feet. Like, my Emeralds were so strong and early it didn't make any sense. Howdy again. Yeah, I'm back now again. We'll see how much longer this Wi-Fi lets me stick on. It's getting to the time of night where people start turning on movies and using stuff, and so the Wi-Fi might kick out again. And if it kicks out again, I probably won't come back. But anyhow, what would be a good bowling ball for a sport shot pattern? Because I'm going to be bowling in a doubles league with my partner. It's a sport shot. I mean, it really depends on what sport patterns, the lane surface, the way that you throw the ball, whatever else. I think that the Hustle PBR is a pretty good sport pattern ball. The IQ Tour Solid is pretty good. The IQ Tornado Pearl is pretty good. So perfect sunny weather here in Texas and mask free, might I add. So anyway, I was streaming earlier, got kicked off hotel Wi-Fi. I'm a state bridge inspector for the Kansas Department of Transportation. I'm in Pittsburgh, Kansas right now. We drove 240 miles today and looked at 20 bridges. So wait, Hugh, that's your real name? Sorry, I had to laugh. That's amazing. I thought that was just a screen name. I thought it was just a screen name. Oh, yep. Have a test tomorrow. Good luck on your test, Colin. Dude, that's amazing. That is amazing. I have a, let's see, my dad used to work with a guy that named a couple of his kids Lamangelo and Orangelo. It was orange jello and lemon jello. What was another one? There was a girl that I took swimming lessons with way back in the day that her name was Casey Jones. And there was another one that was named Candace Kane, but obviously she's called Candy Cane. So just wait till I'm Rookie of the Year in the PBA. Randy will have fun saying my name. Yeah, that'll be great. I got a promotion. It's very good. Yes. Somebody also asked me if I resurface my promotion. No, I let them lane shine and don't really touch the cover much. I like them lane shine, so I have the IQ Tornado Pearl. I want to get the RSTX1 and UC2 to fill a 3-ball arsenal. Do you think these complement each other or overlap? No, there's no overlap. Well, the RSTX1 is a stronger IQ Tornado Pearl. I like to use those in tandem, and then the UC2 has nothing in common with either of those two. So, yep, like my Electrify Hybrid. Yes, of the two, I like my Electrify Hybrid. The Pearl's prettier though. Did you resurface your IQ IQ Nano Pearl, no, I do use React-to-Scuff on it every once in a while because it takes it to kind of like 3000. It gives it a really nice deep clean at the same time, so I don't necessarily resurface it. Every once in a while I kind of knock the shine off or freshen it up, but I don't really do too much with that. May have missed during lag. How do you handle getting your equipment to nationals? We drive every year because my wife won't fly. So we drive every year, and we normally take a couple people's worth of bowling balls, and so we just drive them. So yeah. Is Storm done with spec? Probably. It's pretty polarizing, and so I would say that they might have a spec ball here and there, but it's pretty polarizing. So I just stocked up on a bunch of promotions and a couple of Crux primes. So yes, ouch. It's not too bad when it's Baton Rouge or El Paso or something like that, but when it's Las Vegas, Reno, I've made that drive more times than I care to talk about. So I keep the Nano Pearl at 4 to 5,000 pretty good there, makes the reaction more even. Yes, and actually once you get to about 30 or 40 games, it kind of settles in and tames down anyway. So yes. Anyhow, so for those of you that weren't here earlier, I did not have a Rise and Grinds last Friday because unfortunately my compadre had to go back to work physically. He was working remotely. He's kind of head of security or something at the company that he works for. And so they cleared him to go back to work physically. So he's back in the office instead of a home office. And so we're going to be rescheduling that for Saturday or Sunday so he can continue to join me. However, Mr. James Neffen Jr. or Shimwrecker Enterprises, as you know him, will be my guest on Friday. He's flying in for a tournament over the weekend. And so we're going to be watching the Players Championship and kind of recapping that this Friday at 1 to 2 p.m.-ish in the afternoon. So James will be here in the flesh, and Kyle Troop is from his area, from his region. He's actually bowled against Kyle Troop a couple times, and Kyle's asked him to bowl a couple tournaments, by the way. So he knows Kyle's game a little bit better than most of us couch quarterbacks. And so since Kyle is on the Players Championship show, he should have some extra little insights and stuff. And so we're basically going to break the tournament down. It's on, I believe it's on Flow Bowling. It's definitely on YouTube. We can't actually stream it live while we're doing it, and so we're going to be watching it and kind of running commentary. We'll let everybody know where we're at. We'll probably share the link to the YouTube video or whatever, so you can kind of watch at the same time. But it's probably best if you've seen it before, know what's going on, instead of trying to sync everything up. Doing this live is probably not going to be the greatest thing, but if you watched a couple times or can kind of watch somewhat at the same time we do, then we're going to try to offer our own commentaries and insights, what they're doing, what they're not doing, things like that. So we're just going to kind of break the show down. It should be very interesting. And then, like I said, we'll reschedule Rise and Grinds for Saturday, Sunday, something to where Jonathan can continue to join. Once again, I am a bridge inspector for the Kansas Department of Transportation. I travel 10 months out of the year, so February through November-ish. Normally I'm home December and January, but we just started traveling again a couple weeks ago, and so every once in a while it gets a little boring in the hotel room, and so I thought I'd just pop on and see how long the hotel Wi-Fi lets me do some streaming here. So, and I figured that for some of the other live streams, from the ones that I do in the basement on my set, which I'm redoing, by the way, I got a couple of those signs that if you've seen some of my other live streams where I'm streaming out in my pro shop in the garage, I got that nice new LED storm sign. Well, I got 2 of those. And so the other one's going to go downstairs on my set. But in order to fit everything in, we're going to paint the wall. We're going to kind of redesign my set. Those are more for ball streams and for talking about, you know, bowling balls, ball tech, layout, surfaces, whatever else. The Rise and Grinds are more topic driven for more the mental game side of things. And then so I thought this one, whenever I just kind of randomly pop up and feel like doing one, we'll do On the Road again, and we just talk about anything, just to kind of hang out if you're bored on a Wednesday night or something like that. So, let me see. Just bought my second promotion, just stashing it until my current one dies. Well, the good thing about spec is it doesn't really die. It doesn't soak up oil very fast, and so I use the crap out of my first one right-handed and used it up until I switch hands. And then my other one I've had for a year now. My lefty one I've had for a year now, and it's still just as good as it was last year. So fortunately enough, I don't think that those die very quickly. So Rubicon versus Idle Pro. They say the Rubicon's supposed to mimic an Idle with a weight hole, which makes me think of a bit more downline definition, which makes me think Idle Pro. Yes, the formula bases are basically the same thing, because I think the Idle Pro is E-Trax 19 solid, and the Rubicon is just E-Trax, I think it's E-Trax 20 solid. And they kind of pulled a bait and switch on that, and they're just calling it E-Trax solid now, even though it was E-Trax 20 solid. So the Rubicon is just a little bit more hook and a little bit more pop than the Idle Pro, but it's very, very similar. I think the Rubicon's almost a little bit more continuous. It plays angle. It handles angle a little bit better. So I think it's almost an improved Idle Pro. So I am actually carrying my Rubicon right now instead of my Idle Pro. I do like my Idle Pro quite a bit on both sides of the lane. The Rubicon is just kind of a better version. So you think Storm will make another Sonic? Probably not. The original Sonic was received very well, and then it ended up kind of being a little mediocre. And then I think they destroyed any chance they had of releasing another Sonic by releasing the Supersonic. It was very early and very smooth. That core is very early and chuggy. And the Supersonic was just all kinds of that. It just didn't really fit house shots well, and so I think they shot themselves in the foot a little bit on that one, because it was just too much ball. Too early, too smooth, just a whole bunch of things that league bowlers don't like to see. So do you ever get a chance to shoe it up when you're traveling for work? There's not a whole lot of places in Kansas that I would actually want to go bowling, especially after mountain goating over Bridget. We work 410s, and so we leave the hotel at 7 o'clock, and we get 7 a.m., and we get back 5:30, something like that. And so by the time I've been crawling over bridges all day, I don't really feel like, I feel like getting cleaned up and going to eat something and getting, watching a movie or something, getting to sleep by 9 so I can get up and do it all over again. So there's only a couple places. If I don't have friends that live in town that I'm actually going to bowl with, I won't even consider it, especially because I already have luggage and everything else, and then I don't want to lug bowling balls into a hotel room and then go bowling at night. Now we're going to be in Ottawa here in a couple weeks, and I've got friends in Ottawa. There's a collegiate team in Ottawa, which is an hour or so from Topeka, but I've got a lot of a friend of mine coaches the team. A lot of friends of mine bowl on the team. I see them every week at League in Lawrence. And there's a really, really cool bowling alley down there that's got a great restaurant in it too. And so I will probably take some bowling balls there and might sub in a league or two during the couple of weeks that we're in Ottawa. Everywhere else, though, I don't really want to lug bowling balls around. So bowling in California is going to start April 1st on April Fool's Day. But tis, interesting. I wish they made the hypercell fused again. I think that the nuke cell is kind of an updated improvement of the hypercell fuse, or kind of an evolution. The Hustle 3TP, would the Hustle 3TP be good for me? I have a Columbia 300 Scout reactive. But yeah, the 3TP is going to be kind of like the Scout, just more of it, more hook, more back end, stuff like that. But the 3TP has been discontinued, so good luck finding one. Let's see, finding neat houses is always fun. Most of the time we try to find breweries, but I think we've been around often enough to where we kind of know where everything's at now. And Pittsburgh's one of the where I'm at right now is a pretty cool place to be. It's not a big town, but it's not a small town either. They got a place called Fifth Street Bar that we like to go hang out at. They have kind of some regular stuff downstairs, and then they have a bunch of craft beer and stuff upstairs. And Tuesday nights, which we were fortunate enough to be here for last night, they have 3 tacos for $1.50. So it's Taco Tuesday, and they have all kinds of different things. And you would think that getting 3 tacos for $1.50 is not going to turn out well, but they're actually good tacos. So yeah. I have a 10-lane wood spot I found recently, excellently maintained, lots of fun. Yeah, wood houses are fun to bowl in, especially when they're not crap holes, basically. What type of ball do you think Hope Storm and Rotor will release next? I think that we're going to get a hybrid IQ here before too long, because we haven't had one of those since the IQ Tour Fusion. There's a lot of demand for that. Let's see, we just got the Proton Physics and the RSTX1. We should be in line for another solid HP4 ball and a Pearl / hybrid. Well, we just had a Pearl in the, so we should be hybrid next in the Premier line. The Master line just got the Insight. We just got the High Road Max and the Thunder line. Probably due for some new stuff in the Hotline. And I think Roto is going to release 2 balls in the HP2 line. Next time we get something, we just got the Rubicon UC2 in the HP3 line. So I think that we're going to, because there's nothing left in the HP2 line. They discontinued the Attitude, and so we literally have absolutely nothing in the HP2 line right now. So I think we're going to get 2 there. I think we're going to get a high, or we're going to solid in a Pearl, new core, new line. I think the MVPs are done. The Hustle Inc. was very popular. Why wouldn't Rotogrip continue to make it like Storm does with the High Road? I think the High Road and the IQ Tour Solid are kind of a special case. I don't know why they discontinued the Ink. I think it was probably just most people weren't really throwing it anymore or thinking about it too much. With the popularity of the Electrifies, I think that they kind of overshadowed the Ink a little bit. Once the 2 Electrifies came out, I think that the Ink went on the back burner, and so with the addition of 900 global balls, I think that they're trying to tighten the ship up, and if they're not selling well, they're gone. They're not going to hold on to too much stuff too much longer. I think I would expect that with the pros throwing a lot of the Rubicon, the Axiom, things like that, I don't think the Phase 2 is actually going to be around for too much longer, and that would be one that gets discontinued that surprises a lot of people. But most of the pros are using the Rubicon or the Axiom. You see the Phase 2 every once in a while, but it's kind of, again, getting on the back burner. And I think that if the balls are not selling extremely well, they're not going to bog down the production lines with it, because they're already having enough trouble, keeping stuff in production right now. So if they're not selling well, or not selling even if they're selling well, but not as well as certain other balls, I think they're gone. I don't think that you're going to see stuff stick around near as long as they used to. The Parallax Effect should take a lot better to surface than I think the Parallax would. The Parallax was smooth enough that, as somebody said, well, I knocked the shine off of it. I'm like, well, it's already early and smooth. I don't know why you'd do that. And I think that was mixed. Parallax Effect, I think, needs the surface knocked off of it. I think it's it's very boomy. It's a whole lot sharper than I expected it to be. So I think that the Parallax Effect, with the shine knocked off, just take it to like 3 or 4,000. I don't think that you want to, make it any stronger than that. If you want to if you want something, if you feel like you need to take it to 1 or 2,000, you should be throwing a UFO or a Proton at that point. So I think the Parallax Effect would be perfect at 3 or 4,000, just like the Nuclear Cell. I think the shine on is just a little bit too much for as strong and as flippy as it is. Odds of an NEX Pearl High Road, probably not good. I think we're going to see a lot of NEX going forward, because the Axiom has been popular, the Axiom Pearl has been popular, and I think the High Road Max is going to be popular. So I think we're going to see a lot of NEX. I just don't think an NEX Pearl High Road is going to, it might be the next ball too. Who knows? They're going to see how popular and I guarantee you they tested it. So it just depends on how popular the hybrid max is. So a big earn intensifies. Yeah. How long do you think the Axiom has left before it's gone? I think the Axiom is going to be around for a while. Of the two, I would expect the Phase 2 to get the Axe before the Axiom does. So I think the Axiom's been pretty popular. You see the pros throwing it a bunch. Kyle Troop has said it's the new daddy ball. So if pros are going to use something, a strong symmetric ball, it's going to be the Axiom, especially now that the idol's gone. The Phase 2 isn't quite as versatile as the Axiom, I don't think, and so the Axiom is not in any danger anytime soon, I don't think. I think that the Axiom is definitely outselling the Phase 2. I would expect the Phase 2 and Phase 3 actually to be discontinued before too long. Roto needs to release another urethane ball. I'd be interested in seeing what they come up with. There's actually a Wild Streak urethane that I think is overseas. But if you look on the USB-C approved list, there is a urethane Wild Streak that's been approved in the last couple weeks. Is there a review of the Electrify? Yeah, I've got reviews for both the Electrify and Electrify, or the Electrify Hybrid and Pearl up on the channel. So you just need to just saw an RSTX1 Squad approved. I wonder if it's overseas. I really hope not. But it looks shiny, and so the last three balls in the HP4 line are the UFO, which is a solid, Nuclear Cell, which is a Pearl, and the RSTX1, which is a hybrid. We are due for another solid in the line. The Nuke Cell is still doing well, and so I would expect it to hang on for a little while. So releasing another Pearl ball in the line to compete with the Nuclear Cell, I don't think is going to happen. So I think the RSTX1 Squad is overseas. It looks really cool, so it probably means it's overseas. So stash 7 Phase 2s for a future investment. I would start stashing Phase 2s, honestly. I don't think it's long for this world because they got rid of the idol, and that shock stunned everybody, and then they did a whole nother production run of it because the distributors ordered so many because they got discontinued, and then all of a sudden everybody like, oh crap. I think the same thing's going to happen with the Phase 2. So Phase 4 will be NEX. So yes, a Phase 4 could be NEX solid. They could just replace that, but I don't think that they will. I think the Phase 4, well, no, they have the Axiom and the Axiom Pearl, so I'm not entirely sure what's going to go on there. And then there's R4S Hybrid on the Insight, so I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do with that. I think that to mix it up, we're going to get an R2S Hybrid IQ again. I think we're going to get another IQ fusion because anything else is just doesn't fit. So, ooh, NEX Hybrid IQ, I could buy that. A shiny NEX Hybrid IQ, that's a good call right there. However, they just had R4X Hybrid on the Insight, so I'm not sure, but it wouldn't overlap at all with a NEX Hybrid IQ, so that could be the play. But there's strong cover on top of strong cover on top of strong cover on top of strong cover everywhere right now. So we've got the Axiom Pearl, we've got the Axiom, we've got the Insight, which is R4S Hybrid. We just got the High Road Max, which is NEX solid. So we're going to have something with a little bit weaker cover at some point. The proton physics is NEX solid. So we've got strong covers everywhere. They're going to have to release something that replaces like the astrophysics or something. Again, they just got rid of the IQ Emerald. So we've got way too many strong covers all over the place. So I would expect something with a weaker cover, R2S Pearl, R2S Hybrid. We haven't had R2S Hybrid on anything in forever. I know that the High Road's still around, but we haven't had R2S Hybrid on something for a while. Code Red, I think, is the last new ball that had R2S Hybrid on it. So, Idle Purple is approved. Interesting. Centripetal Core plus NEX might, yes, yeah, it would be a pretty cool combo, but there's way too many strong covers all over the place. What's comparable to Code Black? UC2. UC2 definitely. I think the Code Black's a little bit earlier and smoother than the UC2, but that's close you're going to get by a long shot. Sea Hammer is about to put out a new purple. Yes. But I think the purple tank is better than the purple hammer, and because I don't have a dog in the fight there, I can say anything I want. So, yeah, I don't really think they're going to discontinue the Axiom. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Axiom hybrid, I could see that happening, but I think it's going to be it's going to be some kind of hybrid IQ. And I don't know the story on the IQ Ruby yet, whether it's going to be overseas or stateside. Haven't heard anything there, but I won't hear anything before you hear anything. So they don't tell us anything because staffers are some of the worst at leaking stuff. So do you think Storm will develop another Crux ball? I figured since they discontinued both the Omega and Alpha, they'll release a new one. Probably not. I think that the Crux line's probably done. The Crux line kind of fit the kind of mild asymmetric idea with reaction. So I'm not sure that we're going to see any more Cruxes. I think the Omega might have been the last Crux that we see, but I'm not sure. NEX RST, I don't know what Roto is going to call NEX since Microtrax is basically, Microtrax is basically NRG or Roto's version of NRG. So what about a piston urethane? Think the core is too big? No, not really. Stronger core urethanes kind of defeat the purpose of urethane. So I think that those are kind of hit and miss for people. So does Storm take the pandemic hurting the pocket money to bowlers to get? No, they've released all kinds of stuff. They're releasing stuff too fast right now, I think. So COVID, no, it's not killed the high road. I think that with them adding 900 global into the mix, I think that that's kind of tightened things up a little bit. So they want to make sure that they can keep the most popular stuff in production. That's why the Idol is gone. They just cut the Astrophysics, IQ Emerald, whatever else. If they're not selling, they're gone. So I don't think that they're going to hang on to stuff near as long as they used to. Need to release another alpha with NEX. The Proton is really close to the alpha, or that type of idea. So you have a favorite idle layout? Just got my first. It's very early and smooth. I just have a couple layouts I use on a lot of stuff. I don't tend to mess with layouts too much. So if you have a favorite layout or something that you use on everything else, I would do that. So, all right, well, I've reached the end of the questions. My first stream lasted about 30 minutes before it got cut off. This one has lasted about 30 minutes. I'll finish I've got about a third of this can left, so. So anyway, for what's going on this weekend, James / Shimwrecker Enterprises is flying in on Friday. So Friday at 1 or 2 p.m. Central, we will have a stream where we kind of break down the Players' Championship. So if you haven't seen that, I recommend watching that between now and Friday. Kyle Troop is actually in James's area. James has bowled against Kyle before. Kyle's asked him to bowl a couple tournaments with him. So that's pretty cool. He's a little bit more familiar with Kyle's game than most of us couch quarterbacks. So, so he should have some interesting insights since Kyle is on the Players Show. I'm not going to spoil anything, but Let's see, for League, I normally start with my Halo, but then I change to my Black Widow Pink, but sometimes it's too strong. Which ball would be a good switch for my Halo? If the Black Widow Pink is a little too strong, you could go down to something, I think the UC2 would probably be a little too strong. You might look at some global stuff. Once you get some shine on the Ordnance C4, a lot of people are really liking that one. That might be a good switch. Might the old trusty High Road. Yeah, the High Road's still safe at the moment. I don't see the High Road or the IQ Tour Solid going anywhere anytime soon. People would riot. How about the Insight Core with NEX Solid? We'll have to see what happens with the Insight Core, but they're probably not going to put NEX Solid on anything else in the near future because they don't. I don't think they want to force the Axiom out. The Axiom's really good. So with the Hustle Ain't Gone, do you think there are too many high-end balls being released compared to low-end stuff? The higher-end balls sell more. That's point blank. People want higher-end stuff more than lower-end stuff. And so that's why we see so many more stronger balls getting released, and especially overseas too. The higher, the stronger the ball they are, the more in demand they are. Those are just facts. So what's sitting in your house bag currently? Let's see, the IQ Tour Solid, the ProMotion, and the IQ Tornado Pearl go everywhere, literally everywhere. That bag will go everywhere, no matter what the conditions are, no matter how tough they are, how easy they are. That bag is my very core bag that will go everywhere, no matter what. Now, for my Thursday night league house, I take the Rubicon, the UC2, and the Idle Synergy. And for my Friday night house, I switched the Synergy out for the Insight here recently. So that's what I'm working with right now. I got to tell you something, Brunswick's making a few good balls lately. Never thought I was going to say that, but yeah. And then the other, with the number of balls Brunswick makes, law of averages says something has to be good. But Tiss. The Zen is really popular around here. Yes, I really, really want to throw a Zen. I can't justify drilling one up, and I think I have so many balls that it's going to overlap with something. But I'm going to get a few of those to stash on the off chance that I can actually drill one of these days. So, and the Zen looks really good. James drilled one a couple weeks ago. He really likes it. And so I'm going to end up drilling one of these days. And I'm definitely going to stash some. So the Reality looks really good too. That was on TV for a couple of guys. And it didn't really look great. I think Belmo threw it and then Simo threw it at the TOC, but Belmo didn't throw the ball that great, and Simo chose the wrong ball to start off with, and then the Reality looked good when he threw it later in that game that he bowled. So I made the switch from 15 to 16. My carry percentage has increased. Feels like a marathon after a series, though. Storm did, or Chad McLean did kind of a comparison. And go first coat down. Oh yeah, so I didn't have my segue. I will come back to that. We didn't have the Rise and Grind stream last week because my compadre had to go back physically to work. He had been working from home, but he got the okay and the directive to go back into the office. So we're going to reschedule Rise and Grinds for Saturday, Sunday. We're going to keep doing it. We're just not going to do it on Friday anymore. And we also removed the carpet from our living room too. And we were going to put tile down, but we found hardwood floors under the carpet. So we kind of redirected things and just refinished the wood instead of tiling. So my wife just let me know that her and Mr. Bruce Thoman, who's been so graciously helping us with the process since I don't know anything about flooring, they got the first coat of the sealer down. So we got everything refinished. We got the stain down. The stain took forever to soak in or to dry because we have oak in the living room. It's a really, really nice floor. I have no idea why they cover it with carpet, but they did. And so the stain finally dried enough for them to put sealer down. So they got the first coat down, waiting for that to dry, and then she's going to put another one down tonight. So looking forward to that. Anyway, back to the 15-16 carry percentage thing. Chad did some testing and found out that 14 pounds actually, I lost the word, actually transfers more kinetic energy into the pins than 15 or 16, because while 15 and 16 are heavier, you can put more revolutions on a 14-pound ball and throw it harder, which translates into harder hitting than you can with a 15 or 16. Now, once you get under 14, generally they get into the lightweight cores, and that's when it starts falling off again. But 14s are kind of the optimal range, the optimal weight for the best carry percentage. A little science. I'm glad that you turned me on to the Reactiscuff. I was ready to pitch my P2. It really woke up with the Reactiscuff. Also helped my Incredible Hero. That's my favorite ball. Yes, the Reactiscuff is amazing, amazing stuff. It takes the ball back to about 3,000-ish grit, but it also has cleaner in it too. So you're cleaning the ball and you're kind of refreshing the cover stock at the same time. So it's really, really good stuff, and that's kind of what I default to for my sanded stuff. Or if it starts getting a little too shiny, I'll hit it with Reactiscuff, which is, instead of just sanding it, it cleans and refreshes the surface at the same time. So it's good stuff. What balls are great on THS? The UC2 seems to be a freaking animal for everybody. I didn't think I was going to get to throw it because I saw the HQ video, which didn't really look that great, but they have SPLs there, which are a lot lower friction than what most of the rest of the world bowls on. And it didn't look great for any of them, but the UC2 out in the real world has looked ridiculous for everybody. And I thought it was going to hook too much, back in too much, but it's perfect. I can just kind of float out of it, and it turns sideways and throws stuff everywhere. The UC2 is one of the best balls out there right now, and after watching my last several reviews, you know that the Insight is okay. Now that the Omega's gone, that it makes a whole lot more sense, and I've actually started carrying it in my league bag the last couple of weeks, and I'm warming up to it a lot. Again, it was more or less that I was confused about it than that's not a good ball. It's actually pretty good. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The Proton hooks too much. I tried that out here recently a couple more times, and it just hooks too much. The Parallax Effect, I was disappointed. My wife likes it. Angel has thrown it a couple times, but again, it's pretty strong for how boomy it is. Same story with the High Road Max, and so I've been kind of on the fence and iffy about the last few. And I've said as much in the review, but the UC2 is ridiculous. It is absolutely bonkers, off the planet nuts. It just doesn't make any sense. It glides down the lane, and it never misses the spot. It just does not miss the spot. It's ridiculous. Think we will get something else with Nano Pearl anytime soon. Probably. Rotogrip's version is Microtrax Pearl. And so we've seen some Microtrax Hybrid now, or the Microtrax Hybrid is on the RSTX1. And Nano Pearl everybody's liked the IQ Tornado Pearl as far as I can tell. So I would expect to get something else with it. I think that they're probably going to go NEX Pearl, which is basically an evolution of Nano Pearl. So I think that NEX Pearl is, again, it's kind of like Nano Pearl evolved. And so I think we'll keep seeing NEX Pearl on stuff. I don't know what Roto's going to call it, but see it. I'd love to see you guys bowl. I think that James is probably going to stream our tournaments again this weekend, so make sure that you subscribe to Shimwrecker Enterprises. Find that channel, subscribe to it. We have a couple tournaments this weekend. We have a 6-gamer on Saturday, and we have an 8-gamer for doubles on Sunday. So if you want to watch us bowl, subscribe to Shimwrecker Enterprises, and you can watch me bowl, you can watch my wife bowl, you can watch James bowl, and also my compadre, Jonathan Hawes, is going to be at both tournaments, and then Riley Patton that you see on the Bowling Fixes Motive videos, the two-hander, he's going to be bowling with us, I'm pretty sure. So, oh yes, don't forget to mention the Discord and Patreon. I don't have the links. Yeah, I don't know where James, I think James is actually bowling tonight. So Discord, Patreon's really cool. If you get onto Discord, it's a chat server. Search for Storm Nation. That's my Discord handle, and then the Patreon gets you into the. There's some extra stuff on Patreon, but basically it's a troll filter for the. We have a lot of private channels on Discord. If you subscribe to the Patreon, it's $5 a month, and they charge your card once a month. And so anybody that signs up between now and the 1st of April will get a free preview for like the next 20 days. And so if it's your thing, cool. If not, you can cancel, no harm, no foul, and won't charge you. So it's just there for everybody that wants it. So yeah, RST in the best of my bag, 760 Monday. That's a good set. You throwing the UC2 on the fresh? Yes. And it doesn't make any sense. The UC2 back end's too much for me. And it used to for me too. I thought, well, this is way too much boom. I'm never going to play 3rd or 4th arrow. But actually, I've been able to play with the boom because I've been able to get softer with my hand. I just kind of float out of it and feed it to the spot, and it still turns sideways even when I'm not putting a whole lot of hand into it. And so it's actually been great. It's been really, really good just throwing it straight because I can just kind of fly out of it, and it still acts like I'm hitting the crap out of it. So I love my phase 2 when I got it. Now it feels like it's dead. I had a detox done. It doesn't feel any stronger. You need to get a new one. No, if they just did a detox and didn't refresh the surface at all, the detox should suck all the oil out of it. But then if you take something like Reacta Scuff to it, that'll freshen the surface up, and it'll clean it too. So if you just have the detox done and don't do anything to the surface, it's going to help a little bit, but not a whole lot. Whereas vice versa, if you just hit the surface and don't suck the oil out of it, those kind of have to go together. So I don't think you need to get a new one. Freshen the surface up, freshen the cover up. That should help a lot. What balls do you like the best? I've either been throwing the UC2 or the Idle Synergy on my Thursday night league, and my Friday night league I've kind of gone all over the place, but recently again it's been the UC2. So IQ Tornado Pearl, UC2 and Idle Synergy are what I've thrown the most of recently. The UC2 does sound like my Code Black. Yeah, I love that shot shape you just described. Yeah, the Code Black is really rolly, but it booms a lot too. And the UC2 is not quite as early as the Code Black and a little bit sharper on the back end. But basically, it looks like the Code Black too. It looks like the Code Black, and it's just a little bit sharper Code Black general reaction, basically. So box finish on the UC2, or did you break? No, box finish. And I don't even understand it. But it's ridiculous. I mean, any of the new balls react similar to the Code Red. The Parallax. The Parallax is very similar to the Code Red. It just hooks a handful of boards more. But if you get it and put like 30, 40 games on it, it's very, very similar reaction-wise to the Code Red. Will you do any global ball videos as soon as they start sending them to me? Yes, but they have not decided to start sending them to me for the reviews. So I'm not going to go out of my way. Yeah, Shiny and Lefty don't go together very often at all, period. But the Synergy and the UC2 I'm finding are big exceptions to that rule. If they back end enough and don't miss the spot, then yeah, Shiny's okay. Generally, it just makes them inconsistent. But The global thing is I'm just not going to go out of my way to drill anything right now. If they send them to me for the videos, yeah, I'll drill them and make videos for them. But I've already got way too many balls to choose from, and I'm not going to go out of my way to order stuff that I don't really want to throw specifically just to make a video for, just to have it sit in a bag on the floor and make my decisions more complicated. Um, the stuff looks really good. Jillian Martin's been throwing the heck out of that volatility torque. I really like the looks of that one. Everybody loves the Zen. The aspect is kind of like the Daredevil trick. For those of you that remember that one, the Ordnance C4 is basically like a sanded Daredevil for anybody that's interested there. So the afterburners, everybody is sleeping on the afterburners because that blue one is like a baby Astro. So all the global stuff that they're coming out with right now is really, really good stuff, but I already have a lot of really, really good stuff, and I have 20 balls sitting in the stack that I really want to drill. I've got 2 IQ Tour Pinks now. I really want to drill one of those. I've got a Flux Pearl. I've got a Volt. I've got a Badger Pink Fury that I really want to drill. My Pink Phase, my Phase Tour. I've got all kinds of stuff I want to drill that I just can't justify because I've already got too many good balls to choose from right now. So if they don't send them to me for review, I'm just not going to go out of my way to drill stuff that I might or might not be on the fence about. I'd love to have a Zen, but it's going to overlap a ton of other balls, and I just don't need to introduce any confusion into anything. So, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, Jackal Legacy hooks, but again, we have a UFO and a proton physics. So, drill the global stuff and give it to me, yeah. How much more line consolidation do you see in the future? A lot. I don't think stuff's going to stick around near as long, and they've already discontinued some heavy hitters, and I see a lot more of that happening soon. I see the Phase 2 and the Phase 3 going fairly quickly. I think that the High Road Pearl might actually get the boot here before too long. They've hung on to a lot of stuff because it's good, but I think that they got rid of the Idol. They got rid of the IQ Emerald, which they built to last, and it only lasted for a year and a half. That's kind of why they redesigned it. They got rid of the Astrophysics. They got rid of the Idol Pearl. The asymmetric stuff is always going to go, period, because those are the big stuff that people are really interested in, and so they have to discontinue. Even when you have something like a physics or a Halo Pro, you have to discontinue that stuff. You just have to, because they have to make more room in the line. The other stuff they can kind of hang on to a little bit longer, but I see the Phase 2 getting discontinued very soon. I see the Phase 3 getting discontinued very soon. Again, High Road Pearl might actually go, because the High Road's the big name down there, and the High Road Pearl is just kind of hung out because it's a valuable reaction, but I don't think people are really buying them anymore. The HP2 line is empty. There is literally nothing in the HP2 line right now. The Hustle Inc. went, and that's been around for 3 or 4 years because it was just a great low-end ball, but they finally got rid of that too. So I think the High Road is safe. I think the IQ Tour Solid is safe, but I think everything else they're not going to hang on to for very long. So I love the parallaxes. They're a big gap between the two parallaxes. What would be the Storm equivalent of the UC2? They don't have one right now. The Storm equivalent would have been the Astro, and I think that's kind of why they let the Astro go, because the UC2 is an upgrade on the Astro across the board. I think some of these, they're going to start paying attention a little bit more to what they have in associated lines. So with the UC2 there's no reason to keep the Astro. Astro is a great ball. The UC2 blows it out of the water across the board. That's why they got rid of the Idol too, because between the Axiom and then the Axiom, the Rubicon, the Phase 2, the Idol's good, but it just needed to go. And I think again, with the Axiom and the Rubicon, the Phase 2 is not long for this world either. So, anybody got an idea how to bowl in the Great Wall of China, 48 feet? I don't think it's super high volume either, so that's something to consider. I want to see the Phase 2 core on NEX Pearl. Might happen. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think we see a weaker cover. I think we see a weaker cover IQ hybrid again. So if the phase balls go, we will riot. Well, everybody rioted about the other ones too. The IQ Emerald went, the Idol, Hustle Inc., Astrophysics. They discontinued a bunch of big stuff, a bunch of crazy stuff. What has characteristics like the no rules exist? The proton physics is fairly similar, but it's a lot stronger, because the no rules exist was a very continuous arc, kind of heavier rolling, smoother side. So the proton physics, I think, is the one that you want there. My PSO is selling in sites like hotcakes. They react really good. They do. They don't have, I mean, they're ugly, but they're pretty good. Again, I'm warming up to that one really quickly. Again, I just didn't understand it when we had the Omega Crux. I'm like, why do we have this? Especially once we had the Rubicon or whatever else. The Insight overlapped with all kinds of crazy stuff, but it's a good ball. And I've actually been taking it to League here recently, and it's going to start traveling to tournaments, I think. It's pretty good. Omega Crux or Phase 2, what's better than the two? How much boards do you move every time you bowl? That stuff's all over the place. I think the Phase 2 is more versatile than the Omega, but I'm a lefty, so I don't move very much. Is there an idle synergy ball? Is it going to... I don't understand the question. It's a good... I mean, I throw it on my third league all the time. I've averaged 240 something with it for the last month and a half. So pitch black up the ditch. Actually fast pitch up the ditch. That's my default urethane ball right now. We're bowling on Cheetah for our 6-game tournament on Saturday, and the fast pitch is going to be the first one out the bag. How do you protect your fingers, thumb from callus cracking? Everybody has different skin. Some people have moisture skin. Some people have drier skin. It also depends on what you do for a living. If you work with tires or concrete or something like that, your hands are going to be drier. But how do you protect your finger? A good fit, number one, is the best place to start. They also have the thumb tape that goes on your thumb on the back. So a good fit's the best place to start, using a softer, just keeping your hands softer. And I don't mean texture softer. I mean not gripping, grabbing onto the ball. Now, if you've ever seen the movie The Greatest Game Ever Played or something like that, it's the golf movie with Shia LaBeouf from I think it's The Greatest Game Ever Played, the golf movie. And when they had the section in there when when Francis was younger, and Harry Vardon was showing him how to hit the ball, and he said, keep your hands soft on the club like you're holding a bird or something like that. That's what you want to do with bowling too. And repeatedly throwing the ball, there's friction. So the softer and easier you can do with your hand, the less friction there's going to be, and the better the ball fits, the less friction there's going to be too. So, but they have all kinds of tapes and stuff the pros use a lot. So the Insight back end too much for me as well. That's confusing. That kind of tells me that you either have a really high rev rate or that you have a lot more revs than you have speed, because the Insight's pretty smooth. So the Idle Synergy is a great ball. Yes, the Idle Synergy is crazy. I'm thinking about buying the Idle Synergy. Okay, there we go. I used to have the blue Idle Pearl. What's the difference between the two? The Synergy is actually longer and stronger than the Pearl, but they roll the Idle Synergy rolls like an Idle. It's just the longest and strongest one of the Idols. Bot's catching up. Some people have lizard skin. Yeah, I mean, some people just have dry hands, and that makes it a lot tougher. RST versus Insight. The RST hooks a little bit more. It back ends just a pinch stronger. It's a little rounder. They're fair, and again, this is why when the Insight came out, I didn't understand, because I'm like, well, there's Omega overlap, there's RST overlap. There's, God, and the other one, the Rubicon. Rubicon overlap. I'm like, there's overlap with everything. I didn't understand it. So, yes, ProMotion's amazing. The RST is a little bit more ball. It's a little bit more naturally continuous, and it's a little bit stronger on the back end. So, if you had the choice to put a different layout on the High Road Max, what would it be? I think I would go pin up with it instead of pin in the ring. I think that made it just a little bit too long. My my regional rep actually had his pin up and he was throwing it. It looked a whole lot better for him. I think it's just, I wouldn't change the layout a whole bunch, but again, higher RG balls just don't really work out that well for me anyway. So matchup Pearl. Blech. Oh, I'm two-handed with 13-mile-an-hour speed and I'm way out the back of it, so that explains why everything's too. How do you quit sliding too much? I plant, so I have no idea. When I started bowling left-handed, all I had was my righty shoes, and so I just learned to plant. And actually, I never have people, oh, it's going to hurt your knee, it's going to hurt your hip. Actually, it keeps me slow, and I never have approach problems anymore. Everybody's, oh my God, they're tacky, they're too slick, or whatever else, or there's a spot up there, and I'm like, I don't know. I have rubber on the bottom of my shoes, so I'm not noticing anything. Yeah, Fever pitches neck and neck with the matchup Pearl. Which one hits the bottom of the dumpster harder? Love the RT. Is there room in the bag for a Rubicon as well? Yes, the Rubicon is not quite as strong. It's stronger on the back end, and the shapes are a little bit different. The RST is an earlier and smoother Rubicon, basically. Do you have any rituals? I see a lot of people on TV kissing the ball or rubbing the bottom of their shoes before each throw. Kind of, I towel the ball off, and then my hands have been a little dry and cold recently. Obviously it's winter, but I blow on my thumb, and I used to always wipe the bottom of my shoe right-handed to make sure that I had taken my shoe cover off. Now it really doesn't matter if my shoe cover doesn't come off or not, because I'm going to stop either way. But I don't really, use a chamois to towel the ball off, but I don't really have any other things beside, not anymore anyway. We had a demo day Sunday and half the ball sold where you see two, but they were backward. Everything's backwarded from everybody right now, and I really don't understand. I just don't understand why they put out so many bowling balls so fast and then everything's backward. It's like the PS5 debacle. Yes, it's out, but nobody can find one because they didn't produce enough before they released it. I don't understand what good having something out there is if people can't get it. That pisses people off. So I don't understand why we can't keep up with production, but we're still pumping out balls. I mean, everything's back ordered, but we got to release a new ball or a new two or three balls. It's like, okay, well, if you can't keep stuff in production, what good is it whether it's released or not if people can't buy it? That's stupid. What's the worst storm ball of all time? Matchup Pearl. That orange and silver thing. Awful. Ridiculously awful. UC2 is way stronger than I thought. Yes. And it back ends like crazy. Oh, yeah, they're not kissing the ball. They're blowing in the thumb hole. Yeah, they don't kiss the ball. They blow in the thumb hole. Can the pitch purple be used by low rev rates like the Black Widow was? All I hear is low rev. Yeah, urethane's really early and smooth, and so most of the time lower rev rates are not going to use urethane much because they need help with both hook and back end. So urethane's the opposite of that. So yeah, the UC2 is actually pretty strong, and with as clean as that cover is, it doesn't miss the spot. I thought I was going to have all kinds of problems with it, and it's one of the better balls I've ever thrown, period. I keep throwing it more and more and more, and if I don't start the night out with it, I end up throwing it later and, get mad at myself for not just pulling it out to begin with. It feels like a cheater ball. So, oh, yes, Jonathan. Oh, sweet, you got the UC2. Heck yeah. Cool. I traded Jonathan. He had a virtual tour exclusive, which has the virtual gravity core and the phase 3 cover. So glad you got the UC2. That's pretty cool. And it's great. It is great. I think you'll really like it. So very cool. PS5 problem is bots buy them for scalp. Yes, but that's the thing, is that the bots buy them for scalpers, but the scalpers are only in business because they didn't have enough PS5s to go around in the first place. If they'd have had, several million of them ready to go by the time they released it, if they would have had the supply to meet the demand, then we wouldn't have this problem right now. So they don't know which ball will succeed. It's ridiculous. R&D needs to go back to the drawing. I don't know that they need to go back to the drawing board. It's just they had a bunch of stuff ready to come out, and then COVID happened, and so it's like they still wanted to keep everything released on the same schedule. I don't understand why you wouldn't just keep stuff in the bank. I don't understand. I really don't. They don't have enough supply to meet the demand. I don't understand. So I don't know why they're pushing stuff out so fast. I mean, especially the Brunswick staffers can't even keep up. They got 7 brands. I can't even keep up with the 3 that we have, and I don't even throw global. So I don't know. Is there a reason I like the fever pitch so much with my stats? I don't know, because it's terrible. I don't know how anybody likes it, so I really can't explain that to you. Do you know any trick shots? Do you do any? I don't really do trick shots. I know how to pick the back row up. We used to put up interesting split combinations, but I don't really know beyond knowing how to pick the back row or picking the back row up, and that's not really anything special. So, did you get the virtual in the mail yet? Figured you may not know since you're on the road. The wife, it might have shown up this week, but I don't know. The wife didn't send anything, but I've got some more stuff coming from Storm tomorrow. I just kind of catch up when I get home on Thursday, so it's probably there. So, anyhow, I'm almost done with my bubbly. UC2 over Nuke Pearl. I didn't really like the nuclear cell on the right side of the lane because it was just too much period. And I think the UC2 would have been too much ball on the right side of the lane too. It might have worked out. But I think I'd actually like the nuke a lot more on the left side than I do on the right side because I love the UC2. I didn't expect to. So, but I think, yeah, the nuke pearls. Oh, sweet. Thanks, Rodney. Rodney donation of $5. I have the astrophysics and the electrify pearl, which is much weaker than the astrophysics. I need something in the middle. Any suggestions? Let me see. That's a little tough because they basically have the same. They have the same cover formula on them, just different strengths of that formula. So in the middle there, we don't really have much in the middle of those two right now with any of the lines. Because there's nothing, I mean, well, probably a high road would be right in the middle. Because it's stronger than the other. It's got a weaker core, but it's got a stronger cover. So the high road, I think, is something that would be right in the middle of those two. So, yes, Joe, perfect. Yep. We were thinking the same thing. High road is something that would fit in there. So my trick shot flagging a single pin more than 5 boards. Yeah, that's being the 7 pin. So they sell Chick-fil-A sauce at Walmart now. That's a real question. Is it a matter of you just not having the time to throw the globals, or they feel like more storm balls with a different name? No, they're the Zen is something that's kind of a different look. The Volatility Torque's a different look. The Ordnance C4 is a different look. The Aspect feels like a Daredevil trick. Some of the global stuff feels like older storm balls that they've discontinued, that we don't have that kind of reaction right now. It's just that I have so many good balls right now, and they keep sending me Storm and Roto Grip balls for videos, and so I keep having more to kind of go back and forth with, and so I'm just not going to go out of my way to drill anything that I'm not specifically being sent for videos, because I already have, again, IQ Tour Pink I really want to drill, Phase Pink, Badger Pink Fury, I've got a Volt Solid, I've got a Flux Pearl, I've got all kinds of stuff, Phase Tour, I've got all kinds of stuff I'd really like to drill, but I have 30 balls sitting on the ground in the basement. I can only take, I can take more, but I'm only taking 6 to league and 8 to tournaments, and I've got 15 other balls with holes in them just sitting there that I don't get to throw. My Phase Zero, my RST, my Astrophysics. I've got all kinds of stuff just sitting there. My Phase 2 and Phase 3, I don't even throw those, and those are great. But I have got all kinds of stuff sitting there that I just don't get to throw because of the other stuff that I have that looks great, and so I'm just not going to go out of my way to drill any more stuff than I have to right now. So unless and until they start sending me global balls to review, I'm not going to be drilling anything. I want to, but I just can't really justify drilling more stuff just for other stuff that it's perfectly good to be sitting on the ground. So it's a good problem to have, but just unfortunately, is there any overlap between a Phase 3 and a Marble Pearl? I don't think so. I don't think so. How do you like the Gravity Evolve? It sucked for me right-handed because it wanted to both be smooth and flip at the same time. I think it would be really good lefty, but it's already gone. So I'm a two-hander, but would like to be better at one-handed spares like Oscu. I tried to get 10 pins with two hands, but it wasn't working sometimes depending on oil patterns and overhook. Yes, the best way to do it is to just throw the ball straight at spares. It's the best way to do it. Early high road max opinions, do you think it will be used on the PBA Tour? Yes, I think you'll actually see quite a bit of it because it's stronger cover with a core that gets down the lane a little bit further. I think as soon as you see Brad Miller on TV next time, he's probably going to be throwing the max. Some of these patterns at the World Series of Bowling, once we start getting the TV shows for those, I think you'll see it on there a couple times. So yeah, I was excited when I heard the nuke was coming out. Bought one. I really can't throw it on any half shot. Really strong. Yeah, that's the same problem I had with it right-handed. I liked it, but it was a stronger Astro, and I threw the Astro a bunch, and the nuke, it was just too strong. So will you review any of these balls that you're talking about? In the overseas stuff, if I ever get around to drilling it, that stuff gets reviewed on, I do reviews just for my Patreon crowd, because Storm doesn't really like me reviewing balls that people can't walk into a pro shop and get, because they see me throwing, say I drilled the pink IQ, and oh man, I really like that, I want to go get it. You go into your pro shop, and they, well, those are overseas, you can't get those from here, so that's going to upset people. So they really just want me advertising the stuff that is for sale domestically. For my Patreon crowd that knows that stuff's overseas and that they have to go through other means to get it, I will make reviews just for them to see it, but I'm not going to make any of those public. So yeah, too many balls, dang, what a problem. Yeah, first world problems. It tells me, yeah, it's about time for me to go to bed. My alarm's going off at 5:30 in the morning, so. I'm going to my first 9-pin no-tap tournament tomorrow. Any quick tips? Yes. It's a 9-pin no-tap tournament. Hit the pocket, get 9 pins. I have several no-tap 300s. I have a no-tap 900. Just hit the pocket. 9 pins is a strike. All you need is 9 pins. Don't try too hard to strike. Try above all else to hit the pocket. And if you hit the pocket, you're bound to get at least 9. So just try to get 9. If you get a strike, cool, but hit the pocket, get at least 9. Don't try to take it too seriously or try to get real strikes. It's a 9-pin no-tap tournament. Just try to hit the pocket and get at least 9. Do you prefer to play the hook or hold on a reverse block? That's a good question. There's really no hold on a reverse block. Lefties are going to try to go straighter on anything that's flatter anyway. So it really depends on your game. On tougher patterns, I don't know. It really depends on your game. Some people play either or. I tend to play the hold more than anything on the left side because everything hooks on the left side. So I try to play as straight as possible, take the lane out of play as much as possible. So when you get signed by a manufacturer, do they just send you the balls for free for the chance of seeing them on TV, or do you have to pay retail? The staffers do not get stuff for free. Now, when you're a national staffer, yeah, all the national staffers, the professionals, they get the balls for free, but they don't get them drilled for free. And that's the thing that people don't understand is that they say, oh, yeah, you get the balls for free. They pay just as much for drilling because they have the drill truck out there. The drill truck has to make money. And so every time a pro gets a ball drilled, it's 35 or 40 bucks to drill just for the drilling. And most of them have grip staff deals or whatever that they'll supply their own stuff for. But when you get them drilled by the truck, it's $35 or $40 just to get them punched. They don't do any beveling, they don't do any gluing, they don't do anything. They put the holes in the ball and hand it back to you. They might, I mean, I think they install the interchangeable stuff, but most of the tour players have the reps either install the stuff for them. I think that they all have their own sanders. They all have their own glue. They finish the ball themselves. Literally all the truck does is put holes in the ball and hand it back to them. And it's 35 or 40 bucks. It's not like you going into a pro shop and they drill the ball and then they install the truck will do the slugs or the turbo sleeves or whatever else. They kind of have to do that stuff. But there's no beveling, there's no gluing, there's no nothing. So pro shop, yeah, you pay to get it drilled, and then you pay them for the grip, unless you supply the grips and slug yourself. But they will double the holes. They will make sure everything fits. They will glue the grips in, whatever else. The truck doesn't do that. But the pros pay 35, 40 bucks just to get the ball drilled. So yeah, they get the balls for free, but they kind of earn them. I mean, you don't just a manufacturer doesn't just pick somebody off the street and say, hey, I'm going to make you the next superstar. Here's a bunch of free stuff. You have to earn your way up into that. So, and the regular staffers, I have gotten myself into the point where I get sent the bowling balls for the reviews, but beyond that, anything else that I want, I pay for. And it's a discount, but it's not as big of a discount as people think. I'm not paying like 50 bucks for stuff. It's a lot more than that. Now, obviously, I can't tell you how much it is, but it's not nearly as cheap as you think it is. And then on top of that, most of the staffers, again, I have my own drill press, but if you want to talk about exactly what I've had to do the last 20 years to get myself to the point where I can get sent a couple balls for a review and have my own drill press in the garage, if you want to talk some serious stuff, we can talk some serious stuff. But there's no luck. It's 20 years of hard work and a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice. So anyhow. Oh, what's your opinion on the idol? I bought Jonathan's old idol and shot 770 to Olathe. Anytime anybody shoots 770 to Olathe East, that's like 850 anywhere else. So great job, Mike. Yeah, it hooks, but it's smooth and controllable. The idol's kind of a lefty dream. Now I use the idol synergy a lot, which is long. It's the same core, but it's longer and stronger. But that idea of just something that hooks but is still really controllable is just great for lefties. So do oil patterns give you trouble or can you adjust? Depends on the oil pattern, but generally speaking, pretty good at adjusting to stuff. A reverse block, Chris, is basically when it's tougher there's less oil in the middle and more oil on the outside. So it's what people call it. It's an old school term for a sport pattern, basically. Why was the Hustle Link discontinued? I have no idea. They just weren't selling enough of them. Didn't have anything to do with the ball or anything that was replacing it. They just weren't selling enough of them. And with them producing 900 Global stuff at the Utah plant now, they're trimming the fat. And they're trimming a lot of the good stuff too. So I thought most of the national staffers paid like $50 per ball. No, I think if they're national staffers, they don't pay anything for the bowling balls. I don't think. I know that they pay just as much, pretty well just as much as everybody else does to drill them. But did you see the Brad and Kyle vlog, and Simo drilled like 6 or 7 balls? Yeah, but I mean, if they make them look good on TV, I mean, the players are advertising them for the company, so it's in the company's best interest to supply them with the equipment. So it's not like they just, again, pick somebody off the street and randomly decide to give them stuff. You know, if Belmo throws a ball on TV, he can sell hundreds of them. And so it's in Storm's best interest to give him a few, because he's going to sell a lot more. So $35 in my country, it costs 50 to 100 to drill holes in a ball. Yeah, most places charge $50 for an outside drill, and then it's, you know, they charge $10 for a pair of inserts and $15 for a slug or whatever else. So by the time you're done with it, so it's, so yeah, it's still cheaper, but they don't just get free balls and free drilling. They still have, so if they drill 10 balls over the course of the week, they're spending hundreds of dollars on equipment every single week, and they don't make that much. So the balls are free, but they pay for the services. That, as far as I know, they still got to pay somebody to do it. So again, free is still not even free. So what would you recommend more, the pitch purple or pitch black, for someone that throws 14 to 15 miles an hour and 400 RPMs? I think the pitch black obviously is the go-to ball. The pitch purple is a lot more limited use. So I think the pitch black is probably the one that most people use more often. Have you decided what you're taking to Southwest next weekend? Yeah, the IQ Tour Nano Pearl, and the ProMotion go literally everywhere. The UC2's going, the Rubicon's going, probably the Insight's going, and then I don't know what the other two are going to be. It doesn't really matter what the other two are going to be, because I'm going to throw one of those 6 balls anyway. It's probably going to be the UC2 again. So, you think it's worth getting a ball deal? Really depends on how you, that's a really big hole to get into it. It depends on how much you want to do, how much free time you have, how much work you want to put into getting mediocre discounts on stuff. So, you know, I put a lot of work and time and effort and expense into the channel, and obviously it's gotten somewhere because of that, but it's literally all I do in my free time. And even now, when I'm out on the road working, we work 10-hour days, 4 days a week, and so I'm still doing this in my spare time at the end of the day. Now, I wouldn't be doing anything else but watching movies in my hotel room, but after you spend 10 hours a day mountain goating over bridges out in the elements, you kind of get a little tired. So, you know, as soon as I get back tomorrow, it's just going to be nothing but bowling the rest of the weekend. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. I think it's actually, it depends on if it's something that you're into, sure. But if you're just trying to get discounts on bowling balls, it's a whole lot more work than you really get out of it. And so, especially in my certain situation, I get sent balls for all the reviews, but a lot of them are not stuff that I would go out and purchase if, you know, because not every ball is going to fit, and you're not going to want every ball out there. And so there's a lot of the times where I have to still put work in on something that I have zero interest in and don't end up liking. So I still, even though, you know, something like the proton physics comes out and it looks cool and I would love to throw it, it's just way too strong. I don't need a ball that strong, but I still had to put all the time and effort and expense into making the videos for it. So in that certain circumstance, I really got nothing in return for promoting it, spending a couple dozen hours drilling, filming, answering questions, voting, whatever else. And because I can't throw the ball, I didn't really get anything out of it. But they got a bunch of promotion and a bunch of sales from the videos that I made. So now in the case of something like the UC2, sweet. I throw it all the time, but I still had to put all those hours into it, and with several $1,000s worth of equipment and all the time that goes into it, I could have just cut out the middleman and bought the ball at retail, and I probably would have come out about the same. So really depends on, it's something I like doing. So this is fun, or else I wouldn't be doing it. So so in my case, yeah, I think it's worth getting it, but if you go by the numbers, absolutely not. 100% not. If you're just looking at it from a numbers perspective on paper, not anywhere remotely close. Terrible deal if you're not actually, if it's not something that you're personally invested into and that you really want to do. The rewards are not monetary. Big fan of the channel. I'm curious. Sweet. Been loving my trend. Any balls that are similar worth giving a try? The Zen. The Zen is like a strong trend. If you like the trend, there's zero way you won't like a Zen. Oh, Bork. All right. Don't like asking for a lot of ball recommendations. My Crux Prime is on its way out because it looks awful. It's very smooth and chuggy and pukey. So I actually like it. But you know what happens with, I like the Prime, but it's an acquired taste, and it's a very niche type of reaction. Do you know what happens with them when the guys are done using them? I mean, they've got to have hundreds of balls that they're getting multiple drill leads. Most of the time they give them away at the tournaments. There's a lot of times where people say, hey, so-and-so got done using stuff at the end of the week and they gave them away. Most of the time they give them away to fans at the bowling tournaments. So that's what happens to a lot of them. Let me see. How is your 7-year run for the IQ Nano Pearl claim look at the moment? I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know that I made any kind of 7-year claim about the IQ Nano Pearl or anything like that. You'll have to clarify that for me a little bit, Yoda. I don't quite understand what you mean. Yeah, machines make it look like a Bolden parking lot for a few years. Oh, because it looks like, because it's beat up. Okay. Have you bowled on Kegel beaten path? Yes, a handful of times. But it's been at different centers, and so I can't really remember much about it. I haven't bowled on it very often. I haven't bowled on it very recently. Yeah, it's a flatter house shot, but yeah, it's one of those things. It'll keep you a little bit more honest than a house shot, but it's not terribly difficult. Yeah, who needs another Pearl after the UC2? Seriously, it's ridiculous. I've said that the entire stream. It's just ridiculous. I like the motion. It's just really, really beat up. Well, there's nothing else out there that reacts like a Crux. Well, actually, I take that back. Motive's Forge Flare is basically a Crux Prime. So now that we don't have the Crux Prime anymore, the Forge Flare is virtually the same ball. So Belmo says he drills new stuff every week. I can believe there's a lot of the pros that drill new stuff every week because they want fresh, clean, crispy covers. So you made a stream. It's around 5 to 7 years, and even claim it had an option DC the OGIQ. I still don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. The IQ Tornado Pearl is really good. I like it better than the original IQ, but I would have to know. I don't quite understand. I don't think it'll be, I would hope that it would be around that long. I don't think the OG IQ Tour has been out for 7 or 8 years. Um, I would say it's if the IQ Tour did get discontinued, it would be because we have the IQ Tour Nano Pearl. I think it's good enough to replace the IQ Tour. But how good of a deal are your choice leagues? I have one coming up. It's 12-week league, season 3 games a week, $20 a week, and you can choose a Rotogrip nuclear. So it's very good for if you don't have the $200 or $250 or whatever laying around to go buy a ball. If you just pay a couple extra bucks a week, it usually works out pretty good. To the have a ball leagues generally just add the extra for the ball. I don't think they're really making anything. The ball is just kind of incentive to bowl the league. They're not, selling you a $200 ball for $300 worth of league fees. It's kind of like one of those things, like the bar here in Pittsburgh, Kansas, has it's $1.50 for 3 tacos on Taco Tuesday. They're not making anything on the tacos. They're just getting you in the building to buy beer while you're eating the tacos. So I think it's one of those things that it's just an extra incentive to get people to bowl the league. They're not actually they're not selling the ball for any more. It's just an incentive to get you in the door to actually bowl the league. So you will also buy beer and snacks and whatever else and just bowl during the summer period. So usually they're pretty good deals. Any overlap between the Rubicon and P2? Yes. The Rubicon is slightly longer and quicker on the back end. The Phase 2 is a little bit earlier and smoother, but their hook potentials are fairly similar, and their shapes are fairly similar too. So Phase 4 coming soon. I would hope so, but probably not. Yeah, Simo's got an idol with 300 plus games he won't give up. I saw him use it during the Illinois Open back in August of 2019. Simo's actually got several different idols at several different use stages, because as a cover ages, it generally gets it gets weaker and it gets smoother. And so if you like the general shape of the ball, fresh covers make the ball very aggressive and very jumpy on friction. So once you get those to tame down a little bit, generally it makes them more usable. You get the same idea of the ball, but you get it more usable, a little bit more controllable. So I got a Legacy and love it. Do you think a nuclear solar RSTX1 will work for someone with 300 rev rate, 18 miles an hour, and light to medium oil, looking for a used ball for the place to chew stuff up? Yeah, if it chews stuff up, I would definitely look more for used stuff or for cheaper stuff. Usually Roto's HP2 line is somewhere you can go for really good stuff that's really cheap. So if it gets beat up, you're not going to mind too much. Or something like, actually, holy Bork. Well, I guess you got a lower rev rate for that kind of speed. You might be really surprised with a Hustle PBR. It hooks a lot for a ball that at its price range, and if it gets chewed up or you don't like it, it's cheap anyway. So am I the only one that thinks Olathe East is weird? Everybody thinks Olathe East is weird. It just sucks. Oh, you were drilling at home and made a claim that it will be around for years, and that if the original IQ gets axed, the Nano Pearl will be the reason. Yes. The IQ Tour Nano Pearl should be around for a while. And if the IQ gets discontinued, the Nano Pearl, I think, is good enough that people won't miss the original IQ. I use my IQ Tour for a spare ball. If I actually use an IQ for a first ball, it's the IQ Tour Nano Pearl. I like it better than the IQ Tour. I think it's more usable. I think it's more versatile. So yes, they're going to keep the IQ Tour because of the nostalgia thing. And the IQ Tour Nano Pearl is probably going to get discontinued here before too long, but it shouldn't. So it should be around for a while. And if the IQ Tour Nano, or if the IQ Tour does get discontinued, the Nano Pearl should be around for a while, and it's perfect replacement. So I'm honestly surprised. I don't think Belmo gets a new spare ball for every week. I think he just drills new reactive stuff. The spare ball doesn't really matter. There's no reason to have a fresh spare ball every week. I'm honestly really surprised Schlim hasn't brought Microtrax Pearl stateside since we haven't had NEX and NRG Pearl. I think that they're probably going to start doing it. Since they've had success now recently with NEX Pearl and NRG Pearl, not really what you think about. When you think pearl ball, you think UC2. You don't think Tour Nano Pearl or Omega Crux or something that's really early and smooth. So I would expect to see Microtrax Pearl because it's obviously NEX Pearl is pretty good. So how do you figure out rev rate? What you do is you take a video. It's best if you take a slow motion video, or actually you need to take a regular motion video, and you need to basically see how many times the ball makes a full revolution in the time it takes to get off your hand to the pins. So if it takes 2.5 seconds to go 60 feet and it makes a full revolution 15 times, you turn that into a formula. And it's like, okay, well, if it revolves 15 times in 2.5 seconds, how many times is it going to revolve in 60 seconds? So it's basically a math formula. PBR is a Pro Man's P2. Yup. Since the Hustle Links discontinued, will Electrify Hybrid fit that space in Arsenal? If not, what would? Electrify Pearl is about the closest you're going to get to the Hustle Link, or a polished IQ Tour. It'd be virtually the same ball. How many games should I expect out of a ball? I mean, if you keep it clean and in good shape, it should last for a super long time. So the key to using Nano Pearl on a ball is to not put Pearl in the name of the ball. Yeah. All right. I am at the end of my can of bubbly, and I've been rambling for like 2 hours now, and I really want to finish Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So this was really cool that y'all hung out with me this long. We got a lot of questions answered. Friday, Rise and Grinds with James at about 1 or 2 p.m. Also, I need to be, it's 8:30. I think people are starting to go to bed here in the hotel room, and they're probably sick of listening to me talk about bowling stuff. But anyhow, I'm going to go on ahead and sign off now. Again, Rise and Grinds Friday. We're going to be watching the Players Championship and doing commentary. I can't put it on the screen, and I can't let you hear the audio, but I can give you timestamps, and it helps if you have seen it or if you want to watch it with us. The timing may be a little bit off, but I'll do my best to keep everybody kind of at the same time. And then we have a 6-gamer on Cheetah on Saturday, and then we have a doubles tournament, 8-game doubles tournament on Sunday on a house shot. And so James will probably be streaming those on his channel, Shimwrecker Enterprises. So if you want to see me, James, Angel, Jonathan, who's my regular guy for the Rise and Grinds, be sure to check that out. My camera decided that it's done now too. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Yes, this was a stream that I actually answered questions instead of ignoring them all in favor of my own agenda. So any chance the fuse will be back? No. The nuclear cell is about the best replacement for the fuse we have right now. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Yoda, Sauron, Craig, Curtis, Jonathan, Clint, Robert, Ron, Joe, Tobias, Ernie, everybody. So this was really cool. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Slimy Guy. We will see you on Friday with James. So thanks, everybody. This was a whole bunch of fun. I'll do more of these throughout the year as I'm just bored sitting in my hotel room, provided the Wi-Fi is okay. But thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.